Anthony and the Closet by Stuart C. Anthony Fantano, the internet's busiest music nerd, had run out of things to do. Dishes done, laundry on, choice EPs reviewed, melonade brewed, he snuck deep into his pristine velvet couch and immersed himself in the undiluted peace of a successful day. Warm fingers of afternoon sunlight peered through his blinds in beams of gold, tickling the well-dusted air, illuminating the mahogany encasing now silent vinyl. Oddly, Anthony's apartment was absent of sound. He thought to himself, you could hear a needle drop. Eyes resting, Anthony takes a sip from a condensation-adorned mason jar, filled to the brim with sweet, refreshing ambrosia. The cold comfort of the melonade contrasted tangly with Anthony's warm, supple body, and a refreshed shiver quaked through him. The dust in the air rippled outwards from him. Nothing else in his tomb-quiet room stirred the tiniest bit, apart from the playful bubbles in his hands. A flicker of sensuous mischief is born in Anthony's mind. So many an intimate evening, but rarely an intimate moment with himself, lust drove its fangs deep into his tranquil moment, transforming his relaxed mood into an insatiable hunger for carnal pleasure. Unfortunately for him, his girlfriend was out working in the melon fields, and so his impassioned wails of desire would not lure her into his crypt-like boudoir. Tossing, turning, writhing, palace was now prison. His sweet sanctum of sound, now a blue balls gulag. Even his iPod taunted him. War on Drugs, Suck My Cock was the last song he listened to during a grueling bicep sesh. Now, the very idea of the war on drugs sucking his cock was a taunting reminder of the sheer lack of indie pop fellatio in his life at this very moment. The internet's busiest music nerd remained this way, transfixed for a time, his muscled arms reaching out begging for relief from the prison of his longings, but his ceiling provided no solace. Much like his month-long stint in a cartel-run wrestling arena, Anthony Luchardo gained from this nothing, only lost a good ordeal of mass through sweat that could have been converted into sweet gains. Anthony released a defeated sigh. His manhood was sinking faster than the public's interest in the music of Tyler, the Creator. And with its desire... sinking faster than the public's interest in the music of Tyler, the Creator, and with it his desire to get his freak on. In its wake left a different kind of silence than the one left before. This was not a quiet satisfaction, but one of disappointment. Anthony craved something to occupy his thoughts once more. He longed to be busy again. While logging onto his computer, Anthony heard a creak from behind him. Odd, he thought. He knew that it couldn't be his girlfriend, and Cal was currently in California working as Bones' hype man. As this thought passed through his mind, creak again. He worked hard to ignore it, updating his Twitter furiously with musings. Is it just me, or do the mountain goats sound oddly similar to the front bottoms? What is a front bottom anyway? Is it possible to cultivate a front bottom at the gym? Will my front bottom make angsty music, or will mine be more serene? Creak. He could ignore it no longer. Anthony quickly stopped attempting to fold his cock and balls into a front bottom and sprung cat-like from his computer chair, seeking the creak. His explosive, courageous action obviously frightened whatever the creaker was, and he heard a panicked rustle, from his closet as whatever or whoever it was struggled to helplessly make itself quiet. Anthony strode confidently up to it before flinging open its doors like an emperor making his entrance to the Colosseum. What lay within it shook Anthony to his very core. I didn't know you wrote music in closets that aren't Haunted, Anthony whispered, not believing what he was seeing. Among the animal-faced t-shirts, he sat there, singing saw in hand with a glazed look on his face as marijuana smoke rolled out of his gaping mouth. I thought you were half awake and drifting off to sleep, Jeff Mangum coughed, pink eyes peering out towards the quivering, awestruck frame of the internet's busiest music nerd. Tears filled Anthony's eyes, partially from the harsh chronic wafting out into his face, but mainly from the heavy memories of sunny afternoons spent with Jeff amongst the willows along the rivers of Connecticut, the picnic blanket, the sound of water, Jeff's strong arms holding him as the world lived around them, and comfort found only when one heart has found another match so eternally to theirs. Anthony turned away. Leave me alone, he said. You know this isn't the first time. Jeff seemed hurt. I'll never forget you, Anthony. My mind plays over and over again when my semen stained your mountaintops. And surely that proves our love must still exist. Old sorrow reignited within Anthony. He could not forget the deep pain he felt when Jeff disappeared without warning at Bonnaroo. The pain that transformed a bright-eyed boy into a man who filled his time with musical busywork to forget the open wound of abandonment Jeff had left emblazoned upon his chest. Silence formed a wall between them both. The only sound in the room was the tick-tock of the No Love Deep Web album alarm clock on Anthony's nightstand. The two shared each other's company for a moment, both drunk on the nostalgia that was tearing them both apart. Broken, Anthony reached for the handle of Jeff's closet, meaning to close it and then leave it outside Scott Spillane's house. But Jeff reached out. Jeff took Anthony's hand into his own. Jeff whispered, "The only internet music nerd I ever loved was born with melanade in his mason jar." Anthony Fantano, Jeff Mangum, poorly written fan fiction, forever.